Hi, folks. Welcome to season 4, episode 3 of the Lemons and Pineapples podcast with me, Emma O'Brien, and my guest, Sam Shrosbree. Today, we're going to be talking about why mindset work isn't enough and what you actually need to add to mindset work in order to really achieve big shifts in your kind of whole mind body work. So you might have done journaling, affirmations, quite a bit of inner work, but if you're still feeling stuck, it isn't because you're doing it wrong, it's because mindset on its own isn't quite enough. We also need to be listening to our earthly vehicles and doing a bit of somatic work as well, and bringing the two together to really help to facilitate big shifts in lifestyle, shifts in how your external circumstances start to be shaped. Um, I do a lot of mindset work, so it's a big part of what I do, but it's quite interesting that often I will end up referring some of my clients to Sam when we've also got physiological stuff that needs to be dealt with, and that the physiological stuff is starting to play into the inability to move forwards because our minds and bodies are quite linked and we have all managed to forget that. So, Sam, will you talk to us a little bit about where, from your perspective, we've got to be bringing in somatic work, body work, to really get the mindset work that a lot of us are busy doing and then going, why is nothing working?
Mm,
What's the missing puzzle piece in there?
I think I think the first thing to acknowledge is that the mind and body are two sides of the same coin. So you can't be doing one thing without the other thing. Um, it's mainly the first thing to recognize, and I think there's often the school of people that will go more on the mindset approach, and there's the school of people that will go more on the physical body approach, but that you constantly need to be tying those two things together, is maybe the first thing to recognize. And I think when people start going down these journeys of realizing that something is a bit off mentally or emotionally, or there's work to be done there, then they kind of start aiming their direction all in that sphere. And as you said, you can do all the affirmations, you can do all the journaling, but if you're not actually putting those thoughts and feelings into some kind of action, again, we've said this in the previous podcast, emotions are energy in motion. Those things need to be shifted, and the only way to move something is to physically move it. So that's where it also comes down to the physical body, and like you say, the earthly vehicle that is feeling all these feelings and thinking all these thoughts. um a great quote that I heard is, it's like reading a book about dieting but never actually changing what you're eating. You can have all the knowledge and know that this is what you should eat and this is what's better for you and this is what's not great for you, but just continuing to eat what you eat. It's putting the work and the thoughts and the feelings and the new knowledge into some kind of action.
Yeah.
um I think the two big characters in this kind of mind body, the body speaks the mind, all of that, which I think a lot of people that would listen to this have heard of, are Gabor Mate and Bessel van der Kolk. They're both psychiatrists in background, and their ultimate kind of way to start integrating these things is listening to the body and moving the body. I mean, yeah, the fact that I think it's Bessel van der Kolk's book is called The Body Speaks the Mind. So you can understand what's going on more in your mind by listening to your body, and you can shift what's going on in your mind by shifting things in your body, and just keep having this dance between the two of them.
Yeah,
And
100%. And I think it's just so interesting when you start to bring the two kind of sides of the same coin together and do the work. One thing that's come up for me, I think personally, and with some clients, is I'll have people who are struggling to focus, they're struggling with procrastination. We've done all of the belief work, we've done all of the strategic stuff, and they're like, I'm still really struggling. And then you start to have a look at, well, is there something physiologically going on that is affecting your ability to focus? And you'll find that people are eating terribly. And what you, I don't know, so listen, I love sugar as much as, someone who loves sugar a lot. I love sugar, but I'm also quite aware that of how I feel after having the sugar. So it's starting to listen to what's happening. We're not always feeding our bodies the best thing. I'm not here to say that nobody must have sugar, right? But it's being aware of, if you're feeling jittery and anxious, it might not be a mind problem. It might be something that's going into your body. I think people forget, if you're drinking 10 cups of coffee in a day, you're going to have the jitters. A great one that was quite interesting to me is I bought myself an adaptogen supplement. I can't remember. I actually should have. I don't know what's in it, but it's got a whole bunch of little adaptogens in it. And I I took this, and I kind of was like, I feel really anxious and really out of sorts and really weird. It was the bloody supplement I'd taken.
Oh, wow.
So, again, it's that self-awareness of, I feel really off. What's happening here? Is it a mind thing or is it a body thing? And it's
Hmm. Hmm.
something I'd put in my body. I've taken another example I can think of. It's always nice to be more clever, isn't it? There was some supplement, like a brain supplement, that I bought a while ago, and I was like, oh, this looks cool, can help me focus more. Gave me a cracking headache.
Yeah.
But it's learning to listen to what's gone in and what's the kind of effect on my mind that what
Uh-huh.
I'm consuming is having. So it's learning to listen to the pair of them, which is what
Yeah.
we've been talking about. We're a bit on the soapbox, but it's what we've been talking about here. And so Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score, is a really interesting book to read, because it talks a lot about trauma and things. But I think um, on a perhaps more relatable level is Gabor Mate's When the Body Says No, because
Hmm.
he talks about how often what's happening symptomatically in our bodies is as a result of a lot of the thought processes that we're having, the emotions we're experiencing, how we have not assimilated or processed the experiences we have had. Because you kind of have to work through them and let them work out. Our bodies are storing things. And I know it's what you've talked about with a lot of your physio clients that come in with aches and pains without being like too off the wall about it. It's often stuff that's we're storing and we're keeping hold of emotionally that we just haven't been able to process through.
Hmm. Or release from our bodies, like we spoke about in episode 1 with the
Yeah.
zebra shaking things off.
Yeah.
And I think, the easiest way to just check in with your body, doesn't really matter if it's coming from a mind thing or your body thing. Is you just want to reset it and regulate it.
Mhm.
And I think that the easiest way to check in and see where you're at is to listen to your breath. I think your they often say your breath is the best link between or the best bridge between your body and your mind. There's also sayings like breathing is the first thing you do when you're born and the last thing you're going to do when you die. So essentially, the quality of your breath between those 2 points determines the actual physiological health of your body. Your breath is fueling every cell in your body and will tell you the state of your nervous system. If you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you're running, you're going to have short, sharp, shallow breaths. And if you calm and relaxed, you watch a puppy sleeping, they do those those little sighs and things like that. So, can you listen to your breath and can you regulate your breath? And I think that's a lot of what you do with your heart focused breathing. Um, and yeah, that can be, I mean, maybe if you can link and just say, oh, it was that incident that made me feel anxious, or it was that supplement I took that made me feel anxious for future learning. But it's just, I think, constantly being able to just take 1 second, how am I breathing, and can I breathe better?
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we're talking about regulation, there's lots of tools we shared in episode 1, go and have a bit of a dance, go shake it off to shift your mood. And we've talked about heart focused breathing, we talked about yoga nidras in the last episode, but I think the one thing that we all forget is we have this set of lungs which are the easiest tool you can use to bring yourself back into the moment and to calm yourself down.
Hmm.
Uh, I believe I'm correct in if you have a longer exhale than inhale, you're very much signaling to your body to really calm itself down and ground it and for it to be safe. There's all sorts of techniques, box breathing, where you do 4 in, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And it's just what it does is it does recenter your nervous system and recenter your body, but it also shifts your mind away from whatever you're looping about. If you're feeling anxious or stressed, it just takes you out of that and it breaks the state for a moment, which is often all you need to do is just to consciously go, I'm in an anxiety loop. Let me do something to shift it. Otherwise, you'll sit stuck there. But I think it's having that conscious awareness of what is happening in my mind, what is
Hmm.
happening in my body, and how can I just regain a little bit of control in the moment.
100%. Yeah. Um, I'm even just thinking as you're talking about the longer exhales, um, I think one of the ways we can see that our mind and body are 100% linked is that we have a physical action of crying when you are feeling a certain emotion. And it's also quite interesting. Our breathing is different when we cry, depending if it's a happy cry or a sad cry or a distressed cry. The breathing would be totally different in that crying. So our bodies are naturally doing these kinds of things, and if we can bring conscious awareness to that, we have quite a lot of power and control over the way we experience the world and the way our bodies move through the world. And I feel like that's quite wonderful to think, rather than just be taken for a ride in this whirlwind of life. Is actually we can be steering the ship through it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's we talked in the last episode about um using emotions and feelings, whether they're somatic or psychological feelings, as messengers and working with them rather than trying to shut them down. And I think often when you have the tools and you have the tools to be able to bring yourself back into balance when something happens to throw you off course. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing with regulation is just because you know how to regulate yourself doesn't mean you're not going to experience things. It
Mm-hmm.
just means you are able to recover faster and be more resilient when something, it's life, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's no, if you know you've got the tools to be able
Mm-hmm.
to cope with it, I think we fear the big feelings less and then we
Yeah.
avoid them less, and then you kind of are in a state where you will feel better physically and mentally because you're not at the mercy of everything that's happening to you. Talked about, I think often it can feel like you're on a out of control roller coaster going through life, but
Mm-hmm.
we have the tools at our disposal to be able to regain control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you get that, for me, that self mastery is being able to really tune into what's happening physically, be able to tune into what's happening mentally, and make a choice in the moment as to how am I going to proceed?
Mm-hmm.
How can I bring myself back into balance so I can proceed in a way that actually is more useful and productive and doesn't make life worse in the long run, because I think that's what happens when we're very dysregulated. We make stupid, reactive, in the moment decisions
Yeah.
that have horrible long-term consequences. And if
Yeah.
you can stop yourself from doing that, life actually suddenly starts to become easier because you're actually better in charge of it, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, we've used the analogy before in our corporate wellness things about when you can get into that state of calm, life is constantly going to be throwing balls at you, but you can better analyze which balls you're going to catch, which ones you're going to let drop, and you
Hmm.
can get in the rhythm of juggling the ones you've decided to juggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are very excited. Doors have now opened to our recalibration 6-week program. If you would like to find out more about that, you can head to the show notes and go and have a look at the link there. It'll give you all the information about what we're doing. Essentially, we've created a 6-week group coaching program that is going to take you on a journey of understanding yourself better, learning to listen to both your mind and your body. It's going to give you tools to be able to get into that state of self-mastery. So life ceases to become something you have to cope through and survive. We're going to be giving you the tools to really thrive, to be able to make conscious decisions, to take better care of your body, to take better care of your mind, to show up better, and to be able to manage the day-to-day better so your life improves. Sam, just talk us through a little bit from your perspective what you're aiming for people to get out of the recalibration.
I think it's being able to just step back and get a little bit of perspective. I think if we keep using that analogy of the roller coaster and things like that, is can you actually step off the roller coaster and just kind of review what does Sam want, what does Emma want, or whoever you are out there, what are your true values, and how do you want to live your life in alignment with what is important to you, that you are living your most purposeful, meaningful life within the constraints and things that you have, and where you somewhat feel that you've got more control on being behind the steering wheel of your life. And being able to build your toolkit of things to be able to navigate through life. It's like getting an advanced driver's license. So no matter what the conditions are on the road, you can steer and navigate around them, where you feel like you are in control of that driver's seat, and it's going to make that drive far more enjoyable than if you're just being flung around by what life throws at you, which I really don't believe we need to live life that way.
No. So we're going to be teaching you to get your HGV license and take the scenic route and drive it expertly. So you can check out the recalibration via the show notes. There is a link there to go and have a look. You can also send either of us a DM on Instagram. The handles are in the show notes as well. To find out more about it, if you've got any questions, hit us up. We're really excited to be leading you through what is going to be a really transformational journey. This is work we're both really, really powerful. We're really, well, okay, let me just rephrase that. This is work we're really powerful at, but we feel really passionately about the power of this work. So we hope you can join us on the journey, and we will see you for the next episode. Thanks for joining me, Sam.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks for being with us, folks who are listening. We will see you next time. Bye for now.